You all know about the bubonic plague, right? Well, so you know how it started in when did it start again? Sorry, I forgot. It was in the 1600s. When was the Black Plague? Also known as the Black Death, bubonic plague. Oh, actually, it's actually been way closer to 1,000 years than I thought it was. Black Death pandemic that ravaged Europe between 1344 and 1351, taking a partly greater toll of life than any other known epidemic or war up to that time. The Black Death is widely believed to have been a result of the plague caused by infection with the bacterium Yersinia pestis. So, Plague of Justinian, 541. Wow. There we go. This is the one I was at. Thanks to, I'm using drugs.com. Now, no. Don't ask me why it's called, don't ask me why. It's called that. I don't know. Medicine. Oh yeah, did you know that medicine actually is drugs? They're not legal though. Well, just depends. Okay. But the Black Death, although it's the bubonic plague, isn't actually over. It just subsided. It hasn't actually officially stopped. It's still going on. It's been almost 1,000 years since it has started. So, yeah, but plague, smallpox, SARS, leprosy, polio, do you think these deadly diseases have been eliminated because we don't hear about them anymore? Think again. Some of them may even be lurking in your own backyard. The Black Death, bubonic plague. The Black Death ravaged most of Europe and the Mediterranean from 1346 until 1353. Over 500 million people died there. More than 60% of Europe's entire population at the time. Many historians believe it started in the steppes of Central Asia, a vast area of grassland that even today still supports one of the world's biggest plague reservoirs. Reservoirs. An area where rodents live in great numbers and density, also called a plague focus. Plague is mainly spread through the bite of a flea infected with the plague-causing bacterium Yersinia pestis. Fleas typically live on small animals such as rats, gerbils, marmots, and squirrels. Okay, well, I want to say marmots are probably the biggest one out of those ones. Because, they're not, like, big, but they're also not small either. Just depends on the species. But anyway, on squirrels, and periodically explosive outbreaks of plague. And I'm not saying plaque, because plaques are things you hang on the wall. Yes, it may be spelled the same way. You don't say it the same way, though. Okay. And I didn't say the A word, I said I. Anyway. Explosive outbreaks of plague occur among these susceptible hosts. Huge number of animals succumb to infection and die. Hungry fleas turn humans, and within 3 to 5 days of a bite, fever, headache, chills, and weakness develop. Lymph nodes. What is a lymph node? Closest to the bite swell. Oh, the lymph nodes closest to the bite site swell to form a painful bubble in the variant of the plague known as bubonic plague. And I may be saying this wrong, but infection may spread throughout the bloodstream and affect respiration in the lungs. Without prompt antibiotic treatment, 30 to 100% of infected people die. Okay. Is plague lurking in your town near you? The epidemic of plague in the 14th century was not the only significant plague outbreak recorded in human history. The first reported epidemic broke out in Egypt in 541 and was designated the Plague of Justinian. The last major plague event began in the war-torn Yunnan province of China, reaching Hong Kong in 1894. Okay. Plague has never been eradicated, but thanks to vaccination and antibiotics, few people die of it. Well, as we say, few have died of it now. Back then, they didn't have that kind of stuff. They didn't have the medicine that we did. They had to wear masks to protect themselves. It was said to protect themselves. And so everyone was wearing them. And also, this was during the Great Depression. So, it was basically a living hell. I use the term, right? Can I? I don't know if I can say that. I don't know. Plague is, plague foci, or something like that, are found on every continent except Oceania and in Antarctica. What is Oceania? Is Oceania? I don't think it's actually an ocean. I don't know what it is. Maybe it is an ocean. And it still circulates among mammals such as prairie dogs, jackrabbits, coyotes. I just say coyotes. Some people say coyotes. I say coyote. Black-footed ferrets, and even domestic pets. Between 2010 and 2015, there were 3,248 cases of plague reported worldwide, including 584 deaths. But most cases have occurred in Madagascar, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Peru, where the plague is endemic. From 1st of August through until the 30th of April 2018, Madagascar experienced a plague outbreak with 2,671 confirmed, probable, and suspected cases of plague, including 239 deaths reported. This was at least 6 times the usual annual average of around 400 cases. In the United States alone, 1,040 confirmed or probable cases of plague occurred between 1900 and 2016. 80% of which were classified as the bubonic form, and most of these cases occurred in the rural West between 2016 and 2019. Just 11 cases were reported. In 2021, a dead chipmunk tested positive for the bubonic plague in Lake Tahoe, and a New Mexico resident was diagnosed with the plague, likely from a flea brought home by a pet. 9 cases were reported in the U.S. in 2020 with 2 deaths. Yes, I mean, yeah, I know that's not nearly as much as the bubonic plague has been before, but the bubonic plague is still around. Hasn't been eradicated completely yet, because in 2001, in 2021, 4 years ago, maybe not even, that chipmunk tested positive for the bubonic plague and linked to who? And as well as the New Mexico resident was diagnosed with the plague. 9 cases reported in the U.S. in 2020 with 2 deaths. Yeah. Anyway. Bye.